Here for WrestlingInc.com, Andy Monoski here with former WWE Tag Team Champion Trevor Murdoch, who's going to be competing for NTW this weekend. Trevor, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. And those first, I guess, feelings about you coming up to Sayre, Pennsylvania for the Nikki Baker Memorial Show, which is remembering a true great wrestling ambassador in our area. Just tell us about coming to Sayre and working with NTW.
I haven't been up in that area in a really long time, so it's nice for me, and it actually makes me pretty happy these guys thought about me to be included in this memorial, but also come back in that area and spend some time with fans that I haven't seen in a long time, especially me being a Southern boy. I tend to run the lower half of the United States, so it's nice to get up into that part of the country and see fans I haven't seen in a long time.
Boy, excellent, Trevor, and I know they're all excited about it, and to see you back in the ring and do your thing. And wanted to talk real quickly about some of your history and certainly some of your current things going on right now. NWA Power, this is really created a lot of buzz. This new show that kind of has the throwback aspect to it. What do you love about NWA Power, and also about it just being old school?
It's just the fact that I can go out there and just, it's a really a dressed down situation, whereas you go in there and you just wrestle. You've got a studio audience, it's a live studio audience, and you have to go out there and work your backside off to get a reaction from these people. And you have to earn it wholeheartedly. There's no media pushing behind you or anything like that. So it really kind of works into my wheelhouse as just the wrestling aspect of it, especially me coming from Harley and being trained by Harley Race, and from that background, it's really a perfect fit for me.
Yeah, it really is going quite well, and we enjoy watching the shows and seeing you a part of it as well. And, going back to your days with WWE, three-time tag champion there, had a 3-year run, a great run. What was your biggest takeaway from that experience, and really looking back at it now and say, hey, there's not many people out there that can lay claim to being a tag team champion?
What was the biggest thing I took away from that experience was the fact that I didn't realize how many fans I was actually getting in front of. You go to a large venue and you'll be in front of 15 or 17,000 people in the building. But that TV is extremely powerful. And when you would go to other countries and people would chant my name, it would just blow my mind on how far of a reach that company had, and for me, and put me out there. It made me global. I don't think you and I'd be having this conversation if it wasn't for that.
Right on. And everyone remembers, Cade and Murdoch and that tag team. And obviously, Lance is untimely passing at the earlier part of this past decade. I guess describe that shock, if you can, as best as you can. Obviously, he should still be with us.
It's just certainly unexpected. You know what I mean? He's 29 years old. I had 2 little girls in some of the best shape of his life. And I'm at home at the time, and I get a phone call, actually, and from Shawn Michaels, and I had missed it. I didn't get it. I overslept through it. And my wife ends up waking me up, and the kitchen manager of the bar and grill that I ended up owning was there. And, I thought something had actually happened to Harley. Because Harley wasn't a spring chicken. He's up there in age. And, I asked him, I said, what happened to Harley? And my wife said it was Lance. Lance had passed away. And I actually didn't believe him when they first told me. I was half awake, and it didn't click with me. You know what I mean? It just didn't make any sense. So I looked at my phone, and Sean had called me, and he had sent me a text saying, call me immediately. And I did. I called him up, and I said, what's all this shit I hear about Lance, passing away? And I'll never forget his words. He goes, kid, I'm sorry, but he's gone.
Wow.
And, that's my best friend. One of my best friends. My kids called him Uncle Lance. He had spent holidays here. He had done shows with me for Harley in my hometown where I live, and vice versa. And I've done it with him. you know, he was more than just a business partner. He was a friend. He was part of the family. So to hear that news was just heartbreaking, you know, and it kind of messed me up for a while, you know. You lose your best friend like that, and you ask yourself what you could have done to, you know, to help stop that situation. It took some time to get over him. I still think about Lance every day.
Yeah, and without question, you know, you wear his memory like a badge of courage and a badge of honor, you know, each time you step in the ring, you know, paying tribute to your great friend. And, you know, that was a tag team that, for that time in that era, always stood out, being that tough Southern boy tag team. And certainly a privilege for you to have known him. And thank you for answering that tough question. And, you know, moving forward, just for a couple more few quick questions, and is recently, you know, I had an interview with Sean Moody, who's a classic, you know, wrestling figure. I used to watch Sean on the old VHS tapes back on Coliseum Video, you know, back in those days. And you talked about, you know, an interaction with Vince McMahon where, you know, you had to change your look and getting a haircut and coming out, and all we needed is that one difference of change, and things started to be different for you guys with that company. Is that something you wish that everybody would know? Hey, just tell us that one thing we need to tweak for their career to thrive.
Well, of course. I mean, we've all got the same goal. I don't care what company you work for. Everybody's got the same goal, and that's to get over and put on the best show you possibly can. So if there's something going on that doesn't translate on TV, or something that you're doing that just doesn't work for the program, it would make sense to let that individual know as soon as possible. So there's no discontinuation of the flow of that character and what's going on. You know, and that's one of the things that I like about with the NWA is they're very, you know, the guys in the back that have control and power, they're very honest and very direct.
Right.
They're not rude. They'll tell you exactly. Either you might need to try something different because that doesn't translate on TV. Because those individuals they're more focused on everybody making a great product, and that's, you know, that should be everybody's goal, man. You know, there's enough wrestling out there. There's enough fans out there where everybody can have good shows, draw good houses. And as a wrestling fan, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan, because if there's something you don't like here, there's something you might like over there. You know what I mean? There's plenty of options for everybody out there.
Yeah, absolutely, Trevor, and it's good to have alternatives. You know, I think the future of the business is very bright, and you know, also with the scheduling, you know, for guys that are traveling constantly, to maybe have those, you know, extra rosters and guys aren't on the road, you know, 24/7. It certainly helps, and you made a great point there. And what's next for you? What's next? Obviously, NWA Power is a big thing right now, but what would you like? I know you do a lot of seminars as well. Just describe that to us.
To be honest with you, man, I have no idea what's next for me. I used to be, at one point in my career when I was younger, I was so content or so driven on the fact of I got to have something set up for this. I got to have something set up next. I got to do this. And I would stress myself the hell out. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm just rolling with the punches on this one, man. I'm having fun. I get to go out and step into the ring in front of people that love pro wrestling and fans that love pro wrestling. I'm excited for the future, but I'm also excited for the fact that I don't know what it holds for me.
Yes.
I know that my current path and my direction, what I want, is to become the next national heavyweight champion for the NWA. That's my goal. But other than that, I'm just running with it, man. Because in this business, you never know what's going to happen. So you think you're going left, and then all of a sudden you hook a right. So I'm just going to hang on for the ride.
Yeah, I love that, Trevor. And, you know, it's just letting it ride and live at the moment. You know, I think that's so important for a lot of people in any field, not just wrestling, us in the sports field, too. We, you know, no 2 days are the same. There's always going to be another story, the next story, kind of like the next match. And Trevor, thank you so much for tonight. And my last quick question is, you know, obviously you've been a student of the game for so long. The legendary Harley Race, who is not quite a year since his passing. You know, everyone knows his legacy and his history. You know, with the rivalries against Ric Flair and so on. What is it that pro wrestling needs today? If you could say, hey, we need more of this, what would that be?
Competition. And what I mean by competition is wrestling ultimately is supposed to be two competitors stepping into the ring and going at it. We tend to lose a lot of that competitor-like feel, that competition, through the pomp and circumstances of storylines and angles. In my opinion, it's one of the reasons why UFC is so popular, is because, yeah, there's, you know, you get a background information about each fighter, but bottom line is it comes to when they step into the ring, it's two competitors going at it. I think we need more competition like wrestling. And I mean, to be honest with you, that's what NWA provides to everybody. And I think that's why it's so exciting and everybody's calling it so fresh and new. Because you have two competitors that step into the ring and you have no idea who's going to win. And that's what it's supposed to be like. And that way you're, as a fan, you can hang on for the whole ride from start to finish. And at the end, you can just enjoy it for what it is. And that's what I think wrestling's missing.
Fantastic. Trevor, we want to say thank you again for taking the time. WrestlingInc.com. Trevor Murdoch, 3-time WWE Tag Team Champion, and, of course, NWA Power. We're excited to see where your future goes. Trevor, thank you so much for WrestlingInc.com.
Thank you guys for having me on.